Thank you, Jello. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm so glad to be here. I'm so sorry for the technical difficulties. Unfortunately, two of my laptops failed me today, so cry. Anyway, word of caution for those who are expecting a technical talk. This is not a technical talk. This is more of a philosophical talk. No, just trying to keep things light, because I'm pretty sure you've had a lot of information overload for the past 2 days. So we're going to be talking a little bit about the philosophy around Python. But in this case, it's not going to be about coding per se. It's about how we're going to be able to breed more Pythonistas. That's basically it. All right. Now, a little bit of a backgrounder. My role as a father started with this whippersnapper here. All right? So she was, She was like around, not yet 2 years old at this time. She picked up my Hacking Exposed book, 3rd edition, and then started reading. Not yet 2 years old, but yeah, she started reading the book. Now, what I want you to do is to keep her picture in your mind. Just store it in your temporary memory right now. And then, yeah, let's go. But again, my role as a father started with this little kid here. Who among you here knows this line? Who? You're familiar with this? Okay. The old-timers know this. If you have Python on your phone right now, if you haven't seen this yet, type it in your idle and then look at it. You're actually going to be reading the Zen of Python, which was created by Tim Peters. So of course, beautiful is better than ugly, explicit is better than implicit. You can just read it on your device there if you have your laptop or your phone. But that's basically the Zen of Python. Okay? Now, when I was in my early journey as a father, and also at the same time early journey doing Python, I also realized that the Zen of Python aren't just principles for writing good Python code. It turned out that the Zen of Python principles are also very much applicable in our personal and daily lives, more so as a parent. Yeah. So, there's aphorism number 1, especially when you're going to be introducing Python to your kids. Not only introducing Python to your kids, but when you're going to be assigning tasks to your kids, right? Hey, can you sweep the floor? Hey, can you pick up your plates and put them on the sink? Hey, can you tidy up your study table? Can you put away your tablet or your laptop? Right? Or when you wake up, can you make your bed? Very simple tasks for a kid. But I'm pretty sure there are parents, if there are parents here, I'm pretty sure you've encountered the challenge of asking them to do something and they're not doing it. Or they try to put it off at another time. Right? So for Filipino parents, it's very common for them to hear mamaya na. Or I'll do it later. Right? It turns out that the Zen of Python talks about that very predicament. So there are 2 aphorisms before doing anything. So simple is better than complex. Before you're going to be doing anything, you don't need to think about a very complex task. Right? You only need to think the simplest approach to something that you're going to be doing is it's basically the better thing to do if it's simple. You don't need to overly think. You don't need to think of being complex. So you might ask your child to draw a flower. Of course, you'll notice how your child draws the flower. It's very, very simple, right? But it's beautiful. Your child might be drawing a flower, not the typical yellow flower, but it could be brown, it could be blue, it could be purple. Doesn't matter. Very simple, but it's very basic, very, very, very beautiful in its simplicity, right? And when it comes to tasks that you assign to your kids, it is also much better to inculcate, to tell them that you better do it now instead of later, because you might think of another thing to do and you'd end up forgetting to do what you're supposed to be doing now, right? Okay, so it's aphorism number 1, and it's very much tackled by the XenoPython. Aphorism number 2 is very much applicable whenever you're going to start something. A lot of us, I'm pretty sure, very familiar that, especially those who are front-end devs, you want to make sure that what you're creating is going to be beautiful, it's going to be balanced and well architected. But it also applies when you're going to be bringing up your child, rearing up your child. I'm pretty sure they will also appreciate looking at beautiful things. Okay? But it doesn't have, but you have to understand also that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Your ugly might not be ugly to me, right? My beautiful might not be beautiful to you, but it doesn't matter. What's more important is that you see the beauty in all of the things. And that's also what I try to inculcate to my kids, that there are certain instances that they will say, Papa, is Mama beautiful? Yes. Papa, is Lola? Lola, by the way, for those who are not Filipinos, Lola is grandma. So there was one time Talia, my youngest daughter, Talia, was asking me, Papa, is Lola beautiful? Then I said, yes, of course. And then she suddenly blurted, but she have a lot of wrinkles on her face. Then I told her that your grandma has faced a lot of things in life because your grandma is already 74 years old. And then Talia said to me, oh, that's so old. Yes, but you have to understand, your grandma had undergone a lot of stress when she was taking care of me when I was small. But then she realized, Lola is beautiful. Okay? So that's beautiful is better than, again, beauty is, again, is in the eye of the beholder. And then the second, especially when you're going to start something. Oh, by the way, before I forget, do not focus on beauty when you're going to be doing something. Okay? Just do it. Just do it. Don't focus, oh, they might not like it. Oh, this is crap. Whatever it is that you build, this is crap. So it's also the same with my experience. I created a game. I created a game called Exploit, the card game, and several instances wherein I've showed it to Sony. It's really crappy, but yeah, doesn't matter. As long as you did it, you go ahead and do it, no? And you also inculcate that to your children. Don't encourage them, or don't let them get into this negative thinking. Oh, I'm not going to draw a house because ate or big sister said that my house is pangit. Pangit means ugly, right? So just go ahead, encourage your child. Don't dwell too much on beauty when you're going to be drawing. The same also with doing things. And there should be one obvious way to do it. There's also another instance wherein my second daughter, Samara, was drawing a farm because they love arts and crafts. So Samara was drawing a farm and then putting a huge tree and then a house and then several flowers, very beautiful flowers. And then Talia was trying to emulate what her ate Samara was doing also. Then she just drew it and then she said, my house is not beautiful compared to ate. And then I said, no, your ate is older than you. She's been doing this several times more than you. Okay? So, but the important thing is that you are able to do it in a way that you feel good. That's how you know. That's basically your idea of doing something. And then she said, okay. Is it beautiful, Papa? Yes, it's very beautiful. Okay? So, again, beautiful is better than ugly, and there should be one obvious way to do it. And aphorism number 3 is that we need to also make our kids understand that there will always be challenges. Okay? There will always be challenges. And this is also something that I was able to internalize with the Zen of Python, is that you will always encounter challenges, not only in your development life, but in your personal life, most of all. So I keep telling my children that not everything will go your way. Okay? Not everything will go your way. You wanted to do this one, and then your sister would want to do this one. So that's a challenge. And you don't have to impose what you want with another person. And that's another challenge for you. But you have to accept it, that life will always have challenges. Each and every day, we will always encounter challenges. So, and number one, and part of this from the Zen of Python is that errors should never pass silently. So this also very much applies to how I deal with my kids. I always tell them, if you did something wrong, if you did a boo-boo, do not wait for Papa or Mama to find out about it. You come to us, you come to your mom, you go to your Mama, or you come to me if I'm at home, you come to Mama, or you come to Papa and tell us about it. If you did a boo-boo, or you messed up, like you, sometimes my youngest daughter, who's 5 years old, will still drink milk, and sometimes she'd end up having messy surface sa table. So I keep telling them, never ever wait for your Mama or Papa to find out about it. So if you think that you made a boo-boo, you come to us and tell us that I made a boo-boo. And then automatically you say sorry. All right? So that's error should never pass silently. And unfortunately too, I'm not trying to malign how other people are doing their parenting, but it's a very good thing to inculcate early in our children that error should never pass silently. It's much better for them to be able to say sorry ahead of time. And then another is explicit. Explicit is better than implicit. I'm sure you're very familiar with this adage. But this also applies to parenting in a way wherein whenever we give instructions to our children, it's much better for us to be explicit about it. Because you have to understand, children has a different worldview. They understand differently than we do. So it's much better for us to distill what we want them to do or we ask them to do in very explicit and distillable, easily understandable for kids to understand. Okay? So it's explicit is better than implicit. Sometimes we'd say, fix your table. For a child, especially a child that's younger than 7 years old, sometimes fix your table is a very, very broad concept. They'll have a hard time trying to understand fix your table. as an instruction. But if you tell them explicitly, your papers and your pencils and crayons are all over the place. Kindly pick them up and put them in your bag or in your pencil case. That's an explicit instruction instead of saying, fix your table. Okay? So that's explicit is better than implicit. They'll be able to appreciate that, oh, so that's what Papa meant. Okay? And aphorism number 4. Bonding is the point. So one of the motivations of why I proposed this talk is that we wanna breed and rear up and coming new Pythonistas, and it's going to be challenging for us to encourage children to pick up our programming language or any hobby, for that matter, if they do not grow to like them beforehand. Okay? There are several instances wherein parents will tend to force their children to take a new hobby or take up a new endeavor. How many of you have experienced when you were kids? How many of you have experienced that your parents kind of forced you to take up taekwondo or forced you to pick up guitar or enroll in that violin class or whatever endeavor that they thought that you should be taking, right? And you end up resenting your parents, and then that resentment actually started to grow and grow and grow until you become a teenager, right? And you end up, by the time that you become a teenager, you end up not taking up taekwondo anymore because you do not really love it, right? So that started from when you were still young, when your parents tried to force something which is actually some sort of a projection in a way, wherein a parent tried to force something to the child because it's part of the frustration of the parent. I wanted to do this when I was a kid, and now I have a kid. I want my kid to do what I failed to do or I did not or was not able to do when I was a kid, right? That's projection. So you have to understand that whenever we introduce an endeavor to our kid, it's not just about giving them the skill or giving them a new endeavor to learn, but it has to become something that will bond you and your child to enhance your relationship together. Okay? Because bonding is the real point. Okay? And your child will need to be able to read not only your mind, but to read your actions as well. That's readability counts. Okay? So if they cannot read what you intend to do, then that's the time that they start resenting and they do not understand why. Okay? Now, nurturing and raising a little Pythonista. Basically, these are just 3 of the things. I distilled some of the things that I would like to share with you into 3 distinct things. If you want to breed a new Pythonista, if you want to grow a new Pythonista in your family, number 1 is do not negate. Relate. So if they want to do something, don't tell them, no, don't do that because our family does not do that, right? Or if your child wants to take up music, go ahead, encourage them to take up music. Now, don't negate, you relate it. If they started learning music, you can actually tie that to Python. Music theory and Python. Pwede. Concepts, right? So do not negate, relate. So if they want to do arts, go ahead. And then you try it again. You bind it again to Python. How can you bring arts into Python? Let them learn Python first, and then teach them how to use Pickle and Pillow. Graphics libraries and image magic using Python. That's art still. It's still art. And second, do not force. Reinforce. Whatever they like to do, let them go with it. Go with them around it. But find the time and the creativity that you can then steer it so that it will go to Python. Navigate, and then you steer their interest from that particular, let's say, art or basketball or whatever, steer it to become something that is Pythonic. Okay? And third, gamify. This is really the third advice that I have for you. Worked already for me for several years. Gamify. When my eldest was starting Python when she was 6, okay? She did not start Python actually at 6, it's 8. I started her first on, who's familiar with Lightbot? Lightbot and Rodokodo. In order for her to learn how to use control structures, loops, and if conditionals, without writing code, just to move the character around the game. Lightbot and Rodokodo, they started from there. Then my eldest daughter transitioned to code.org, hour of code from code.org. And then from there, saka ko siya bringing up to Python. But before going to Python, I introduced her first to Minecraft. Yes. Her first game was actually a Minecraft. And then everything went from there. And lastly, what are you really after? Namespaces are one hunking great idea. Please understand that you are trying to rear a new Pythonista. You're not trying to rear a new developer. No. Don't think about training a developer. It's your child. You have to build a bond, and you have to think that you are sharing something that will be common between you and your child to be a bonding experience. Okay? The Pythonic skills will just come naturally later. The most important thing is for you to be able to bond with your child. All right? By the way, you remember that little kid, that whippersnapper earlier? This is her now. Sorry, the pictures here didn't load, but the white photos there actually were from when we joined Hack Fair 2015, and she was 10 years old back then. She was talking about her project called Hummed, which is a screenshot streaming project using Flask, and she was explaining it to some students from La Consolacion College here, way back 2015. And last year, she was one of the Django Girls coaches during PyCon APAC. And of course, you see her sitting with Manabu when she was helping out with the Pau booth last year. And then this year, she'll be talking about AI in CDO for, actually that's going to be next week. She was, during her high school project, she was able to create an AI. She trained her own AI, she built her own models, and then created an AI for construction. So it's a bomb generator for building a house. So you have like a bungalow, how many floors, etc. And then it will generate a costing for construction, for constructing your house or your building for that matter. And that was her senior high school project. They built their own AI out of it. All right. And of course, the version 2 and version 3 are still in progress. So that's Samara playing Minecraft, and Talia is watching on. So yeah, version 2 and version 3 are still in progress. All right, so just a little bit of a background there. Again, I'm Romar. I'm a cloud infrastructure engineer for MELDCX. So if you want to know the company, MELDCX is actually an AI-based AI company, global AI company. And I'm also the co-founder and co-organizer of PyChada, and I'm also community volunteer. I'm regional coordinator for Northern Mindanao for Mozilla Philippines as well. So thank you guys, and good afternoon.